For discussion here in studio, discussing the resistance agenda by the opposition coalition NASA. And in studio for this conversation is Honorable Geoffrey Odanga, Member of Parliament, Matayos constituency. And to my left here, we also have Honorable Maure Maoka, who is the Member of Parliament, Igembe North constituency. Many thanks for staying with us, gentlemen. So part of the resistance agenda, Honorable Odanga, was to continue with peaceful demonstrations or peaceful protests, as the opposition has called it, and one was staged for today, but that has since been called off. And the reason for that is that there's still ongoing debates across the country with regard to the creation of a People's Assembly. Many are still left wondering what the role of this People's Assembly would be. But talk to us about the aim of these demos and what they've achieved so far, and why NASA feels it right to continue with demonstrations.
I feel that the demonstrations have been called off, at least in the meantime, for purposes of concentrating on the motions and discussions in our county assemblies, to be able to have the People's Assembly take shape, and for the people to really understand what they are for. And one of the things that the People's Assembly want to articulate is issues of social justice, and the others that we have just talked about, that the Kenyan people have not been taken seriously, and the issues of the IBC, how it has handled all those issues. We would like to have it from the grassroots. The assemblies should be there, and then later on we shall be converging for a national assembly in Nairobi. So the demos have just been called off so that we are able to concentrate on the constitution
on that debate. And I mean, how many county governments would you say are on board with this? Because when those calls for an election boycott, only 5 counties did not take place in this boycott.
It just started yesterday. And I can tell you that some counties are quite on course, like Busia County already passed that motion yesterday. And it's going to be interesting in the next few days.
All right. So the creation of People's Assembly, Honorable Maure, your thoughts on this?
I think what I'm saying, or what the nation is dealing with, they are called premature thoughts by the NASA team. Premature in the sense that nobody has been able to think through what do you want from point A to B. First point, if we did elections on August 8th, these assemblies and the National Assembly came into place. And now, less than 3 months into their jobs, which they have not done very efficiently because of what is happening at the top, you have people saying they want now People's Assembly, not those assemblies that are elected. Now, people send you to do work. After 3 months, you are calling on the people now to come up and they take over your jobs. Why can't the NASA be? Why can't they come outright and say they are calling on the assemblies to be dissolved so that they can be replaced by the People's Assemblies? Or if it is about them being used maybe to pass motions for referendum, that's a different story. You don't call them People's Assembly. But those are just communist things. I don't know. There is the idea of centering on people without actually talking to those people, let them speak when they spoke on August. I don't understand.
Please.
Yeah.
I want to remind the Kenyans that the call for these assemblies is anchored very well in our constitution at chapter 1, where the sovereign power of the Kenyan people rests with the people, and all their issues can be articulated either directly or through the democratically elected representatives. So when we go to the assemblies, we are asking even the people to come out with their issues directly. It is well anchored in the Constitution.
No, let's focus on more.
No, I think it's an abuse of the Constitution on this. This is something extra constitution.
Right. It is provided for within the Constitution, Honorable Maoka.
No, they are misleading the people. The people power is in the Constitution, the sovereign will of the people. But you cannot have it double. The moment a voter goes and elect a leader, they cede that power to the elected authority. This member here, he represents a constituency.
The Constitution says
the people in Matayos cannot come here and all of you debate with them, let's say that 1,000 of them here. It is him who speaks on their behalf. Now, unless he steps aside, then the people can come up.
But the Constitution says or. Either directly or...
My brother, you have answered the way it should be. You cannot have it both. You have the representatives in the county assemblies or in parliament, and then you have the people simultaneously. That's exactly what I was saying, calling
the Constitution does not say that the Constitution does not say that it must just be one. The Constitution does not say so.
All right. Yeah. So that is what NASA is anchoring their discussion on. But part of the resistance agenda, part of the decisions in the resistance movement have received quite a lot of criticism. Among them is the move for economic boycott. In a few moments, we'll be speaking to our Rashid Ronald, joining us live from Kisumu. Last night, we had a section of residents of Kisumu saying it is time this economic boycott is called off because boycotting products like Safaricom, Bidco, and Brookside is hurting them economically. So we have differing thoughts as well, still from supporters of one Raila Odinga. Your thoughts on how this is really hurting the country? That boycott and resistance of certain products is quite in order, even if it, and if it causes some economic pain, then it is very good because it's going to make some of these actors in the business world in this country to be serious next time when we have issues like elections, so that they don't play a partisan role. And we have seen economic sanctions slapped when countries have been struggling for self-determination, for all other issues, like there was sanctions in South Africa. And if it's going to bite, then that is good enough. All right, your thoughts on this, I think, Honorable Moret, how this is likely to affect the country as a whole?
I think what is happening is that is what you call chewing the gum and climbing the stairs. You have to pause for one of the two, otherwise you get choked. The people who are being asked to do a boycott, a leader like him, he gets a salary, like me. Who pays for that salary? It's a taxpayer. Now you are calling the taxpayers to boycott the products that actually pay that tax that is meant to pay them. It is a story whereby people need to define what they want. When you are doing a complete boycott, don't do it in a double standard way. In the sense that if you say Safaricom or Bidco or Brookside, what do they have to do with elections? That's the first point. Number two, if the election happened, and you've already taken over the jobs of county assemblies, governors, senators, and the MCAs. It is only the presidential which was a problem. Then how did all these others become also legitimate when the other one is not? Number two, we did a repeat of the election, which NASA boycotted. Because if NASA had participated, they would have been able to have agents all over, collect the data, and go back to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court had promised, enda mukifanya maneno mbaya murudi hapa nitawapatia the same thing. So when they chickened out and they said they don't want to participate, nobody knows why. Because there is talk of reforms in the IBC. The day they were getting the ruling in the Supreme Court, they knew it was the IBC which was mandated. But in the process, they started giving Vitisho the demands. No, demands and the threats.
All right. So we'll be in just a moment discussing then solutions for the country, because there's been talks of dialogue between NASA leader Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. What kind of dialogue then do we have now? Because the election has already been held. The Supreme Court is still determining petitions. We do not know the decision yet. But before